Hi, I'm Rose Armstrong. This is Wisdom Wednesday, and I'm so glad you're here. There comes a time for many women after they've left an abusive relationship when the crisis is past. All the paperwork is signed and the moving boxes have been unpacked. Life begins to settle down. And for the first time in a very long time, she finds herself alone. Maybe you've had a Saturday morning like this. You wake up and there's nowhere you have to be. You pour yourself a cup of coffee and then you lean against the kitchen counter and look around. The dishes are done. The groceries are in the fridge. There are errands you could run and laundry that could be folded. Yet, you find yourself standing there and asking a question you never expected to ask. What am I going to do with myself today? Not because there's nothing to do, but because none of what could be done feels meaningful. You could crawl back into bed. You could spend the morning cleaning, but you don't really want to do that. You could run errands you don't really need to. You could scroll through social media or watch television. You could keep yourself busy all day. But somehow none of those things feel like the way you want to spend this hard-earned freedom. Then another thought quietly slips in. If I don't do something today, I've wasted the whole day. And suddenly the quiet that once sounded peaceful begins to feel uncomfortable. There's a tug of war going on inside of you of not really knowing what you want to do and the belief that you have to do something. Well, do you have to do something? As you sit with that, maybe there's a moment that you tell yourself, I guess I'm lonely. Sometimes it is loneliness, but it can be something else entirely. That space that was once occupied by someone else is suddenly yours. For years, your days were shaped by another person's needs. You had meals to prepare, problems to solve, moods to manage, appointments to remember, and conflicts to avoid. Whether you wanted that responsibility or not, it gave your days a certain rhythm. And then one day that rhythm is gone. That can feel strange. Our first instinct is often to fill that space. We stay busy because empty space can feel uncomfortable when we're not used to it. But what if that discomfort isn't asking to be avoided? What if it's inviting you to ask a different question? What do I want? That question can be surprisingly difficult to answer because you've spent so many years asking a different question. What does everyone else need from me? At first, asking yourself, what do I want, can feel selfish, but it isn't. It's one of the first steps toward creating a life that feels like your own. Perhaps this season isn't asking you to fill every empty space. Perhaps it's inviting you to discover what belongs there. You see, the way we respond to that empty space matters. Because when something feels uncomfortable, our natural instinct is to make that uncomfortable feeling go away. We fill our calendars, we fill our homes with noise, and sometimes we begin looking for someone else to fill that space. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting companionship. We were created for connection. But there is a difference between wanting to share your life and wanting someone else to take away the discomfort of being alone. This season has something to offer you if you're willing to give it time. Time without the distraction of another relationship. It's about giving yourself the opportunity to discover what brings you joy, what you value, what gives your life meaning, what makes you laugh, and what you no longer want to compromise. In other words, it's giving yourself the opportunity to create a life that reflects who you truly are. This season gives you something many women have never had, the opportunity to discover yourself. You get to approach this season with curiosity. Try something simply because you've never done it before. You might discover a new hobby, a new friendship, a new confidence, or simply a new part of yourself. You get to rediscover old interests you may have set aside years ago. You can say yes to an invitation. You may even take yourself somewhere you've always wanted to go, even if that's just to the beach for the day. You get to discover people who leave you feeling encouraged. You will notice what brings you joy. You'll also notice what drains your energy. Most importantly, you get to discover what feels like home in your heart. And little by little, your confidence grows. Not because someone else believes in you, but because you know yourself. And the life you're creating begins to reflect the woman you are. As you begin creating a life that reflects who you are, something else begins to change. The relationship you have with yourself. Every new experience teaches you something, not just about the world around you, but about yourself. You begin to notice, I really enjoyed that. I'd like to do that again. That doesn't feel right for me anymore. And I realized how important that was to me. Little by little, you begin to recognize your own voice. It's not the voice from your past, nor is it the voice of someone else's expectations. It's your voice. And you begin to trust yourself. That trust quietly grows into confidence. Confidence in the choices you make. Confidence in the boundaries you set. Confidence in the opportunities you embrace. Confidence in the life you're creating. As your confidence grows, your values become clearer. You recognize what brings you peace. You become more certain about what you will and won't accept. As your confidence grows, you're less likely to lose yourself in someone else's life. And not because you've built walls around your heart, but because you've finally come to know its worth. When we enter a relationship before we've had the opportunity to know ourselves, it's easy to begin organizing our lives around another person's again. not because we intend to, but because it's familiar. Without realizing it, we can slowly stop asking, what do I want? And begin asking, what do they need? Or how do I keep this relationship working? Those are the very questions we've spent this season learning to step away from. That's why giving yourself time matters. Not because relationships are dangerous, but because you matter. The more deeply you know yourself, the more likely you are to recognize someone who honors the woman you are instead of expecting you to become someone else. As we come to the end of our time together today, I'd like to leave you with a little blessing. If you're able, place a hand over your heart, take a slow, gentle breath, and allow these words to settle where they're needed most. May you discover that time spent with yourself is never time wasted. May curiosity become your companion. May you find joy in unexpected places. May you discover strengths you never knew you had. May your confidence grow with every choice that reflects who you are. May your heart become a place that feels like home. May you create a life that reflects the woman you are. And if one day someone joins that life, may they honor what you have so lovingly created. Before anyone else gets to know the woman you are, give yourself the opportunity to know her first. The healthiest relationship you build after abuse may not be a romantic one. It is the relationship you build with yourself. With warmth for your heart and strength for your inner world, I'm Rose Armstrong. I'll see you next week.